Hi, my name is Raymond Williams, and welcome to my video on how to properly cut in and terminate the control cable for Furuno 2137 S-band radar. These are these big radars that are used on Solis vessels. You know, you see them, they're big. But one thing I want to point out is that you can consider radars to be life-saving instruments. They're crucial for navigation. A failure of a radar can result in a collision or grounding, and this can result in a loss of life, an environmental spill, and the loss of property. None of these are good. I mean, you really need to know what you're doing and read the installation manual. Furuno makes some very good installation manuals, and consult with people who have done this before. So let's talk about the cable itself. Here's a cross-section view of the cable, and you can see that you got, going from the inside out, you got the coax, and you can see this white stuff around the coax. That is a copper string, a very soft copper string. And the point of that is to allow the conductors to move freely with respect to the coax and each other. And then you can see this little brown wire tucked in right next to the coax. That's a high voltage. We'll talk about that guy a little bit in a minute. Then you got your conductors. You got, you really can't see it, but you got a layer of paper. Then you got the EMI shield, inner sheath, armor, then outer sheath. So here's the cable, cut back and just flared out. And you can see you got your outer sheath. That is a really tough PVC, black PVC sheath. And then you got your armor. It's a mild seal, like I said before. Your inner sheath, your EMI shield. Now that is what shields against electromagnetic interference, rather it being coming out of the radar or going into the radar. And the armor also acts as a shield, but not officially. It's grounded at the scanner, and it's grounded at the processor. But yeah, that is your actual shielding. And then you can see paper and string. Now, here's the conductors. And you see on the left-hand side, lower left-hand side, the high voltage. You really need to be careful with that guy. If you nick it, you need to put heat shrink over it, Scotch 33. Leave at a minimum of an 1/8 inch of overlap. You should really have more. Try to get about 1/4 of an inch of overlap over the damaged portion. And you'll also notice that the blue, gray, violet, and white wires are not used. Those are the wires that are used for like 2117 or something like that to run the motor. You got 2 of them that provide the DC to the motor, and 2 of them that brings back a sense so that the radio can actually adjust the current going up to it to maintain a constant voltage. You also see that you got 2 twisted pairs. The black-white pair is the data coming down from the scanner to the processor. The loss of that data will give you an RF error on the radar. So if you said RF error, it's not radio frequency, it's RFC board. That means that the RFC board in the scanner is not communicating with the processor, so that gives that error. And that will throw you for a loop. And then, of course, all the way to the right, you can see the video IF. So now, once you're up there and you starting the process, the first thing you do is you back off what I call the packing nut. It's really a screw. It screws into it, but I, call it the packing nut. And you back that bad boy off out of the thing. You get your washer. You got a gasket, 2 washers, and then there's a blank metal disc. And you discard that disc. In fact, you take it away with you, because if it lays on the deck, it's going to rust and make the yard unhappy. So you put all that over the cable, and use some black electrical tape to hold it together, so that you don't lose it. And then you're going to cut back the outer sheath, and use your scanner as a guide. If you got a scanner length, a little more than a scanner length of excess, you're good. And then you cut back the armor, and you leave 1.5 inches or so of armor sticking out, maybe a little less. as long as you can flare it out over the washer, you're good. But less is, I mean, more is always best. And there you go. You take and you flat out a little bit. You pull that last washer away. You put it in your pocket, and then you flat it all the way out, and then you trim it to the edge of the washer. And the point of trimming is you shove it into the scanner. And now once you've done that, you pull it up to the scanner itself, and you want to trim back the outer sheath. I mean the inner sheath, should I say? I keep on getting mixed up. The inner sheath, and you leave an inch or so, or more than an inch of the sheath sticking out, and you're going to use that to dress things down. And then you cut the shield back. And I always use the terminal strip as a guide. And once you've done that, you kind of push it all back as far as you can, and pull away the paper and strings, and then you cut them away. So here you go. And now you're gonna get yourself a screwdriver. You're gonna bend it over and get yourself a screwdriver and start poking around gently. And you want to find like one of the blue or violet wires that these are not being used. And that's the first ones you want to pull out. So once you do it, you sneak that screwdriver underneath it, being careful not to nick it, and just work it out. And you just keep on working until you've got all the wires pulled out. And it's really good to pull the string out as much as possible before you pull any other conductors out. And that just makes a bigger opening inside the shield, so that you can more efficiently pull the wires through and have less risk of damage. And then you trim away the paper and the strings, trim them up back close, and you dress off the conductors and you dress off the shield separately. You can pull the shield, you know, and it gets real long, and then you dress them together with 33 tape. Now you slide the end washer back on, and you work the cables into the hole. You work the conductors into the hole. And at that point, stop and think, okay? Because if you screw this up, you can get water into the scanner or into the cable. And either way, it's really bad. So you stop and you look. You got your packing nut, you got your 3 washers, make sure they're in the right order. And of course, you got your gasket. You want to make sure everything's in the right order. And then, now Furuno recommends that you put some ChemiSeal, that silicone sealer that comes with the radar or with the array. You take and you put a thin coat on there, or as I do, I will take and screw that nut in and put a real small bead around it. And that way it's easier to take it loose, so you have to change out the scanner, you know, in the future. And you will effectively keep the moisture away from the threads. Now what you do is you dress off the shield. And you can see from this picture right here, I've done that. And I put the terminal on it, and I didn't crimp it. I want to keep this terminal. This is a real deal Furuno terminal. And I try my best to hang on to any excess that I can, because I like to use real deal Furuno terminals. So I didn't crimp it. And so the next thing you're going to address are the conductors. Now you're going to notice on your lower left-hand side that the coax is hanging down. You just let that guy hang. You address him last. And so you trim off your conductors, kind of like you see here. And there you go. On the side of the scanner, they got the color code and the assignments that go along with it on the terminal, on the plug. So you pull the plug out and use a Furuno tool, and you attach wires. Now you want to be careful. You want to make sure that all the strands get into the terminal. You want to make sure they're kind of straight. They say to twist it, but if you use any twist, just use a little bit, because you want to lay down flat and smash down the best. Then you're going to address the coax. You got to pull the terminal board out, and as you can see right here, there is a template that shows you how to dress down the coax. Now I like to leave the shield longer than what they have here, so it sticks out away from the connection, it can dress up tape. It makes it look neater. It gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside, but that doesn't really affect the electrical operation. And there you go. There it is, all connected. You also need to be careful with the center conductor because it's rather fragile, and leave the coax longer than it needs to be, because if you do any work or somebody comes behind you and does work on it, chances are that center conductor of the coax is going to get damaged. So you really want to leave excess so you can do rework later on. And there you go. There it is. You can see it's plugged in. I put a couple tie wraps so that the conductors will hold that shape. You can see that the coax is routed out just like the template inside the terminal strips, the terminal board says. And of course, you look down where the arrow's pointing. This heel pulled out of the terminal output there, but oh well. Well, guys, I really hope you enjoyed my video, and I expect y'all to do a good job. I mean, it's not hard, and this is crucial stuff. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in my future videos. Thank you.